perfect wisdom, with the divisions of the Abhishamaya-lamkara. Translated by Edward Conze. University of California Press, Berkeley, Los Angeles, London. Translation of the Sutra. Chapter 8, SRENIKA the Wanderer. How the irreversible bodhisattva views things. F. The object, aspect, and distinction for medium heat. Subhuti. I who do not find or apprehend anything to correspond to the words bodhisattva and perfect wisdom, which bodhisattva should I then instruct and admonish in which perfect wisdom? It would surely be regrettable if I, unable to get at the arising and passing away of any dharma, should merely in words cause a bodhisattva and a perfection of wisdom to arrive and to pass away. Moreover, what is thus designated is not continuous nor discontinuous, and it has not stability anywhere. And why? Because of the fact that it does not exist apart from ignorance. That is why it is not continuous or discontinuous, and has no stability anywhere. I do not get at the arising and passing away of form, etc. Nor do I see it when reviewing. And so for the other dharmas up to the suchness of all dharmas. To what then could that word bodhisattva refer? And what is thus designated is not continuous or discontinuous, it has no stability anywhere. Because apart from ignorance, it does not exist. G. The object, aspect, and distinction for strong heat. Moreover, the reality corresponding to bodhisattva taken as a conventional term for a dharma, as a concept of a dharma, cannot be expressed by anything, from form to the Buddha dharmas. The reality corresponding to space, earth, and the other physical elements. To suchness, no falsehood, unaltered suchness, dharma suchness, dharma element, the constant sequence of dharma. The reality limit, the perfection of giving and the other perfections to morality, concentration, wisdom, emancipation, the vision and cognition of emancipation, to the stream winner, etc. 2. To the fully enlightened one. Cannot be expressed by anything. Be it wholesome or unwholesome, faulty or faultless, permanent or impermanent, ease or ill, self or not self, calm or uncalm, isolated or not isolated, existent or non-existent. For this reason I say that it would surely be regrettable if I, unable either to apprehend or review the arising and passing away of any dharma, would bring about only the designation of something, i.e., of bodhisattva and perfect wisdom. Moreover, that designation is not continuous or discontinuous, and it has no stability anywhere. And why? Because of the fact that it has no existence apart from ignorance. H. The object, aspect, and distinction for low summas. Perfect wisdom opposed to formative influences. Moreover, a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom should not stand in form, etc. 2. In decay and death. And why? Because form is empty of form. What is the emptiness of form? That is not form. Nor is emptiness other than form. The very form is emptiness, and very emptiness is form. And so for the other skandhas. By this method a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom should not stand in form, etc. 2. Consciousness. And the same method should be applied to the other dharmas. 130 from the I to the 6 perfections in the 18 Buddha dharmas. To the syllables, to single utterances, double utterances, and separate utterances, to the super knowledges, all concentrations, and all dharani doors. To the conviction that form, etc., is permanent or impermanent, ease or ill, self or not self, calm or not calm, empty or not empty, sign or signless, wish or wishless, isolated or not isolated. To suchness, the true nature of dharma, the realm of dharma, the fixed sequence of dharma and the reality limit. If a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom stands in form, etc., with a mind devoid of skill in means and prone to eye-making and mind-making, then he courses in the formative influence of form, etc., and not in perfect wisdom. And why? Because while coursing in formative influences, a bodhisattva cannot gain perfect wisdom, nor make endeavors about or fulfill it. When he does not fulfill perfect wisdom, he cannot go forth to the knowledge of all modes. And why? Because form cannot be appropriated. But the non-appropriation of form is not form, on account of the emptiness of its essential original nature. And that applies to all dharmas, including perfect wisdom itself. It is thus that a bodhisattva, who courses in perfect wisdom, should investigate all dharmas as empty in their essential original nature. He should survey them in such a way that there is no mental apperception of any dharma. This is the concentration circle of the bodhisattva, which is called the non-appropriation of all dharmas, vast, noble and fixed on infinitude, to which all disciples and pratyeka Buddhas have no claim, and in which they have no share. Dwelling in this concentration circle, a bodhisattva will go forth to the knowledge of all modes. But also that knowledge of all modes cannot be appropriated, on account of the emptiness of the subject, and all the other kinds of emptiness. The object, aspect, and distinction for medium summits. Perfect wisdom opposed to B. The sign. And why? Because the knowledge of all modes should not be seized through a sign. For sign is defilement. What again is sign? Form, etc. 2. The reality limit are signs, and they all are called defilement. If, again, perfect wisdom could be seized through a sign, then SRENIKA wanderer would not have gained faith in this our religion, and in the cognition of the faith here means the believing in perfect wisdom, the trusting confidence, the resoluteness, the deliberation, the weighing up, the testing, and that in the absence of any sign. Thus should perfect wisdom be taken up through the signless. When SRENIKA the wanderer had faith in that cognition of the all-knowing, he entered as a faith follower on a cognition with a limited scope. Having entered on it, he did not take hold of form, or any other skandha. And why? Since all dharmas are empty of their own marks, there was no dharma which he could take hold of, on account of his non-attention to a sign. And why? For he did not review that cognition as due to an attainment and reunion which is inward, or outward, or both inward and outward, or elsewhere. And why? For he did not review that dharma which he could have known wisely, or by which he could have known wisely. And why? He did not review that cognition as inside form, or as outside form, or as both inside and outside form, or as something other than form, on account of subjective objective emptiness. According to this scripture passage, SRENIKA the wanderer, after he had resolutely believed in the cognition of the all-knowing, entered as a faith follower on a cognition with a limited scope, and then made the true dharmic nature of the cognition of the all-knowing into his standard by way of his non-apprehension of all dharmas. Putting his trust in his faith, he took hold of no dharma whatsoever, on account of his non-attention to all signs. He also apprehended no dharma which he might take hold of, or which he might set free, on account of the fact that no dharma can be appropriated or abandoned. He did not even care about nirvana. And why? The non-appropriation and the non-abandonment of all dharmas, that is perfect wisdom. This is also of a bodhisattva the perfection of wisdom, which has gone to a beyond which is no beyond, that he does not take hold of form and the other skandhas because no dharma has been appropriated. Nor does he enter final nirvana prematurely, i.e., before he has fulfilled the vows, etc. 2. The powers of a Tathagata, the 4 grounds of self-confidence, the 4 analytical knowledges and the 18 special Buddha dharmas. And why? Because all the dharmas, including the Buddha dharmas, are no dharmas. In fact they are neither dharmas nor no dharmas. This is the perfection of wisdom of a bodhisattva who has not appropriated any dharma whatsoever. K. The object, aspect, and distinction for high summas. Perfect wisdom opposed to see what exists. Moreover, a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom should investigate what this perfection of wisdom is, and choose how and whereby it is. If again a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom meditates on perfect wisdom as a dharma which does not exist and which cannot be apprehended, then he courses not in perfect wisdom. Sariputra. Which are the dharmas that do not exist and that cannot be apprehended? Subhuti. The perfection of wisdom, and the other perfections, the emptiness is the skandhas, suchness, etc. On account of the 18 kinds of emptiness. And if the thought of a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom and investigates and meditates in such a way does not become cowed or stolid, does not tremble, is not frightened or terrified, then that bodhisattva should be known as not lacking in perfect wisdom. L. The object, aspect, and distinction for weak patience. The bodhisattva, wisdom, and enlightenment. A Sariputra. For what reason should a bodhisattva be known as not lacking in perfect wisdom? Subhuti. Form, etc. is lacking in the own being of form, etc. Sariputra. What then is the own being of form, etc.? Question mark. Subhuti. Non-positivity is the own being of form, etc. By this method one should know that form, etc. is lacking in their own being of form, etc. Moreover, form, etc. Moreover, form, etc. does not possess the mark of form, etc. The mark does not possess the own being of a mark, and the own being does not possess the mark of being own being. Sariputra. A bodhisattva who trains in this will go forth to the knowledge of all modes. M. The object, aspect, and distinction for medium patience. Subhuti. He will. And why? Because all dharmas are unborn and do not go forth. Sariputra. For what reason are all dharmas unborn and do not go forth? Subhuti. Form is empty of the own being of form. One cannot apprehend any birth or going forth with regard to it. And so for all dharmas, up to the reality limit. It is thus that a bodhisattva, who courses in perfect wisdom, comes near to the knowledge of all modes. To the extent that he comes near it, he obtains the perfect purity of body, thought and marks. To the extent that he obtains the perfect purity of body, thought and marks, he produces no thought accompanied by greed, hate, or delusion, or by conceit, cupidity, or bad views. Owing to the non-production of such thoughts he is never again reborn in the belly of a mother, but constantly and always he is reborn apparitionally. From Buddha field he passes on to Buddha field, honors the Buddhas, the Lords, matures beings and purifies the Buddha field. Until the time that he knows full enlightenment he is never again deprived of those Buddhas and Lords. It is thus, Sariputra, that a bodhisattva come near to full enlightenment. End chapter 8.